So, you will learn how to make shooting weapons. Now, before I start, I'm going to go ahead and put up on the screen all the available tools that you will need before you start this. Now, to start off, all we have to do first is, of course, you have to have your weapon set up. In another video, I will show you how to do that. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and attach something called a Auto FX prefab, since we're making a minigun. So I'm going to attach it right here onto this. Make sure that whenever you are working on your stuff, it is always set to local. If it's not, it will not show you the exact location from which this weapon is shooting from. Now, I'm going to set this to be -90, and then 90. Yep. Sometimes it's a bit iffy whenever you work on it. There we go. Now this should go ahead and make these particles straight. And I'm going to set it right about there. Now, once we get up to this point, all we have to do is next just set up the muzzle. So what I'm going to do is do 360 and -360. After that, you set this size to 0.5. Gonna want to make this into just a constant. Go down over here to emissions. You're going to change the count over here to 3. After that, you can go to size over lifetime, click this, and switch this to where it's going straight up. If you don't see these particles and curves, you should see at the bottom of your screen, so you just go down here and you just pull it straight up. And I'll show you this immediately. To close out that, it disappears entirely. When we head over to the renderer, we turn this into a billboard. Now, this is so it works properly. Once that is done over with, I'm going to head over here to my mesh. So, these two textures you're not going to have. These are ones that I brought in myself that I use. So, tracer and then muzzle. Since these are going to be for VRChat avatars, what I'm going to do is set my shader from standard over to VRChat, mobile, particles, and then additive particles. For the muzzle, I'm going to be using this blue particle here, and then for my, wait no, I'm flipped. For my muzzle, I'm going to be using this smoke particle, and for my tracer, I'm going to be using this blue particle. So this means that each time that I pull the trigger, I'm going to have smoke appear from the muzzle area, and this bullet is going to appear each time that I shoot. Now, since I'm going to be making this into a, well, essentially this is just going to become a minigun, I'm going to go ahead and switch up a few things. You can skip ahead if you'd like. I'm going to change the count here to 5. Shape should stay the same. All this stuff is fine. I'm just double checking to make sure I got everything good. Okay, that should work. Now, what we're going to want to do next is we head over to our assets, go into a folder where you keep your avatar or your model, and then go ahead and make a brand new animator. Now, since this is a Juggernaut Clone Trooper that I found, I'm going to call this Jug Gesture FX. Now, you need to have VR Labs Avatar 3.0 Manager installed. It should come pre-prepared with Creator Companion. And then from here, I'm going to go over here to Gesture, use Custom Animation Layer, then I go and drag in my controller right here, add Animator Merge. I'm going to merge it with my normal animator, this one right here. Wait, no, that's the wrong one. Ignore that, sorry. I did not mean to do that. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to change this, and I'm going to type in hands. I'm going to select hands 2. That allows for you to basically change like your gesture, like if you're making like a fist, to where it fires your weapon. Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to head over to our scene, animation, and I'm going to go ahead and do Z6 shoot on. To that, I'm going to do Control A, Control C, just so I can go ahead and make that easier on myself. Then we do next is we first disable this Z6, re-enable it. Then since we want it to be shooting, we're going to do buffer on. Where we go to shoot off, we're going to essentially do the same thing, except this time we're going to buffer off, and you need to enable and disable weapon, of course. There you go. Now, this next part is really easy to do. Some people get mixed up, but I promise this is easy. So I go over my jug gesture. I'm going to put in Z6 shoot. Now, don't mess with your parameters. You don't have to change anything on it. As weird as that is for some people, they're always like, oh, I need to add a new parameter. You don't. So go over here to Z6 shoot. First, drag in your off. That'll mean that default, whenever you have your weapon out, it will not shoot all. Then after that, we go over here and do Z6 shoot on. Make our transitions. Go to our settings. We turn our transition duration to 0. And I'm going to do gesture right equals 1. So this means whenever I make a fist in VR chat, it's going to start firing. Then I turn off both these. I do gesture right does not equal 1. So whenever you stop making a fist, it will stop firing. Then from there, you have to go over to your normal effects. Go ahead and get rid of that. I completely forgot to set this up. So in case you're like me and you forget to set stuff up sometimes, just make your animation layer for your gun real quick. Off, on, transition, transition. Usually people just use VRC Fury nowadays to make toggles, but it doesn't really matter. This is just as fast, anyway, if I'm being honest. So that should be all that you need to do to set up and make a working weapon. You can add more to it if you want to, but that's just the basics. That's just the baseline for what you need to do. It'll work anytime.